It's a long road when you're on your own, and it hurts when they tear your dreams apart. And every new town just seems to bring you down, trying to find peace of mind can break your heart. It's a real war right outside your front door. I tell you, out where can you?
Hey YouTube, OPV, Old Proud Veteran here again. I want to do a short video on another area that I came across that really bothered me when I started delving into it, and I thought it would be good information for everybody out there. But if you know about it, then it's just be a refresher, and if you don't, then maybe it'll help open some more eyes up. But I came across something called the Constitutional Free Zone of the United States. Constitutional Free Zone. Sounds like some part of a new sci-fi flick, you know, the no loan zone, the danger zone, the dead zone, the constitutional free zone. Well, hold on to your big girl and big boy panties, people, because it's not. It's another attack from the United States government on its own people. That's right. It's like the video I made that you can see on my channel on martial laws and executive orders. There's several very dangerous items in there that you can go over and look at what powers really can be thrown in just with a stroke of a pen. But in this case, it doesn't need a pen. It's already available, and Obama's starting to enforce it, or his administration is. And there's a lot of things, you know, that we don't know about that are signed in and made into laws or executive orders or passed, and you never hear about them until they want you to, or until they decide to enforce them and show up with might to enforce it. That's when you know about them. So there's not much you can do unless you really try to go look for them. The Constitutional Free Zone, what it is, it's an area that stretches 100 miles around the United States, Alaska and Hawaii, the borders around each one of those areas. And I'll put a map up in the middle of this video so that you can look at it. But it's 100 miles from the actual border inland all the way around. So that encompasses approximately 66%, or 2/3 of the U.S. population is estimated to live in that area 100 miles from the borders. 2/3 of the population. That's incredible. And in this area, in that 100-mile radius, in that zone, the constitutional free zone, the law states, and I'll get into it here in a few minutes down a little bit later on, but the Fourth Amendment guarantees are suspended. That's right, the Fourth Amendment in that 100-mile border is suspended. It does not apply. Kind of scary. Let's take a look at the map. That map gives you a rough idea of what it looks like. And that should be the border that we're using to keep people out, that we don't want to come in our country, but we're not. The government is using that under the FISA, which is the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, that extends the laws and the powers of the National Security Agency, surprise, surprise, to do the surveillance on American international emails and phone calls like they've been doing and like we've heard about, and has come to light with the wiki reports and stuff like that. But it goes a little bit further than that, and guess who the enforcing agency over all this is? You got it, the DHS, Department of Homeland Security, once again. Basically everything, if you want to put it in a nutshell, every agency, every organization, everything eventually is falling into DHS. They're going to be the predominant ones that pretty much run everything domestic in this country, any kind of laws and all that stuff. So it's kind of scary. But the DHS was required to give a report back to the ACLU, which was suing the federal government over this, along with other law agencies, deeming it unconstitutional. Well, they did it, and from 2008 to 2010, they said approximately 6,500 people had their electronic devices searched. Just 6,500. So to them, that's a drop in the bucket. This all came about during the Bush administration, actually in 2008, when they first announced the suspicionless electronic search rules that they added into that. And the Obama administration, the year after that, extended it quietly for a 5-year extension of the FISA Amendment Act of 2008. Got a train coming by, so it's in the video. I apologize about it. Pass here in just a second. Well, the FISA Act, Amendment Act of 2008 guaranteed unchecked surveillance authority for the rest of the presidency when Obama extended it for the 5 years. So as long as he's in, this is still going to be law. The legal precedent excludes the border from the guaranteed Fourth Amendment rights, which is the right to be free from unlawful and unreasonable search and seizures. In the constitutional free zone, once again, you don't have any Fourth Amendment rights, and I'm sure if we dig into it and can find more information on it, if they call it the constitutional free zone, then pretty much they can say that any of the constitutional laws don't apply. What it means is that 100 miles from the border, and you can be stopped, your electronic devices can be searched and seized within that 100-mile border without a warrant, without any probable cause, just because they want to under this constitutional act that they're throwing out there, or not constitutional act, but the unconstitutional zone, the law that they're throwing out there. You've done nothing wrong, nothing to raise suspicions. They just stop you at a checkpoint and start going through your phone and your laptop and all that. And yes, they can seize it without a warrant, without giving you anything. Department of Homeland Security posted the notice on this for travelers' electronic equipment very quietly. If you dig around on their website, it's there, but they didn't make it public, obvious reasons. And it's kind of scary. Folded into it, they're also enacted with the unmanned drones. They're somehow attached into this and other laws. And the federal Supreme Court upholds the use of unmanned drones on civilian population to hunt and track them down if they pose an imminent threat. Imminent threat is a nice little word. Imminent. Very soon, happening almost now, right? The Department of Justice revealed, along with this item, the unconstitutional free zone, that the killing of Americans through the expansion definition of what constitutes imminent threat may take place. So they can use those drones or whatever agency they deem necessary if they consider you an imminent threat. Now, everybody should understand why you're seeing these checkpoints pop up from DHS 75, 100 miles, within the borders in Texas, Arizona, a couple other states that we've seen them popping up. They're testing the waters. That's what this all is. And there has been a few people, and it's some information out there on it, but it's still kind of quiet, that actually had their electronic devices, phone, laptop, etc., a tablet, confiscated, searched, and never given back to them. And people are trying to find it, and they're trying to take up the legal recourse, but it's not going to go anywhere. They're not going to win. This is just another step in the government. What you do to find this stuff, like the executive orders and these laws that you don't hear about that come up with, and just like this, the unconstitutional free zone is by digging around on some of the government sites and some of the news sites and Department of Homeland Security sites, the FBI sites. A lot of information is posted out there so they can say, yep, it's out there. Now, you may have to dig through tons of papers and files and links to get to it, but it's there. They don't have to make it easy for you. They just have to say it's available. But, you know, it's just getting harder and harder on us, and we all know that. The economic situation, and now we have, you know, this to deal with. And the sad thing, really, is that the majority of the citizens are just sheep still to these wolves, the government. They got blinders on. They can't see past it. You know, they've listened to the government rhetoric for so long and the promises and everything else, and still, even after all the disasters we've had in the past just couple years, Katrina, Sandy, all the hurricanes and tornadoes and stuff like that, and you can see how the government really didn't do a whole lot and actually screwed a lot of it up. But people still think, you know, the government's going to come in and do an emergency or anything else to protect us and feed us and take care of us and all that, and they're not going to. That's why they have the FEMA camps up. Once you go there, you belong to them. Then part of these different laws, you know, that unconstitutional free zone will fall into it. You know, they have the right, if they think you're an imminent threat, or they want to think you're an imminent threat, or just tell you they feel you're an imminent threat, then they can detain you for as long as they want. They can put you in one of those FEMA camps. It's scary, but the bad part is that private gun owners in the United States is estimated between 70 to 80 million right now that own guns. That's about 80 to 88.7 of 100 citizens own a gun. That's a lot. That's a large number. But what people don't realize, if you took all the agencies, DHS, FBI, ATF, U.S. Marshals, Secret Service, National Police, postal workers, anybody that has any kind of affiliation with the government, trash collectors, any of those, and you armed all the staff. I mean, clerks, coffee getters, trash collectors, postal workers, cleanup people, all that. The U.S. private citizen against all those agencies still outnumber them between 5 to 8 to 1. That's right. Private armed citizens outnumber all those agencies combined roughly 5 to 8 to 1 with the numbers that are coming off of some reports. Some reports are up and down and that, and I just kind of do what a lot of contractors do. You kick out the high and the low and you go with the middle, but it's pretty phenomenal the amount of numbers that are out there, and that number's growing for private citizens, and we all know that. And even if they decided they were going to throw the U.S. military and the National Guard and reservists into their fold and armed all them up and put them out there, you still would outnumber them pretty close to the same amount, 5 to 6 to 1. On that, last report I looked at here a couple days ago, it said that estimated at approximately 1.5 to 2 million active duty, ready and able military members right now in the U.S. military. It's not a lot. You know, I've talked to some people, oh yeah, we've got 200-300 million military members. No, we don't. It's 1 to 2 million active duty that are ready and able. That's the key, ready and able. There may be another 200,000, but they are not ready or able. They are disabled, they are locked up, they are in medical centers, that type of stuff. And even with the reserves and National Guard, that's only estimated, let's say another million. Estimates are between 800 to 900,000 to add those in. So the U.S. private citizen, that's why they're trying to do all these gun laws and everything. I mean, if you wake up and think about it, you know, if your government is so afraid because you're outnumbered anything they could throw at you, even 5 to 1 or 4 to 1, being from the military and law enforcement background that I have, if you're outnumbered 6 to 1, you don't want to go stand up against that. You know, you got a pistol as a duty weapon, or even if you have a fully automatic M16, and you're going up against 4 to 6 other people with just semi-automatic M16s or rifles or shotguns, chances are you're probably not going to survive it. I don't care how bad you think you are. You're not going to survive it. You're outgunned and outnumbered. So it's just a wake-up call. It's just something I came across, and it just, I mean, I just like, are you kidding me? And it's there. If you want to go dig for it, dig for it. Look up some of these things. I'm just trying to get some information out there to help you. This explains a lot of the DHS activation of these roadblocks, and you're going to see more. And private police roadblocks, you know. They can use the private police to enforce this. Haven't seen any big major news on it or anything, and you're probably not going to be. It's going to be kept hush-hush. And, you know, it's just something else we have to deal with, but just thoughts out there. I appreciate you watching. Go ahead and comment and leave some feedback. Let me know what you think. Like I said, my numbers are just off of a couple sites that I took an estimate from, but, you know, there may be others out there. But the numbers really aren't what matters. What matters is the federal government still quietly taking apart the U.S. Constitution and the Bill of Rights, taking away our freedoms that myself and so many like me and so many today are fighting for and spilling blood and guts for and giving their lives. And it's a sad thing. And America just needs to wake up. People, wake up. Get your voices out there and let people know. Again, I appreciate y'all watching, and stay safe, prepare, and if you see a veteran out there, give them a shout out. Thanks, y'all. Have a great night. OPV out.